We're live, Marwan? We are. Okay. Hi, guys. Well, if you've forgotten who I am, I'm Fari. Remember me from the in-person events? It's been a while. Thank you for joining us. We're going to give a little bit of time for people who are still looking to join the live. I'm very excited about this session. And first of all, I miss all of you. I really do. I think we're in the studios of Podster. I know this is our home. And I do miss you guys. And I hope that we will be able to host some in-person events very soon. But we didn't want to leave too much of a gap. And I think this topic especially is something that you as the community have been asking for. And I think it's very relevant right now. So we're going to do a little bit like what I always do. We can't do my icebreaker as usual, but I am going to get you guys to engage. So anyone who's on right now, write your name. If you have a podcast, please share the name of your podcast so you guys can see who's online right now. And what I'm going to ask you to do is just to bear with us in case we have any technical issues. Fingers crossed, we're going to have a smooth sailing process for tonight. But if we do, we will ask you just to bear with us so we can get everything up and running. But we are with a professional team, so I think we're going to go fantastically well. The flow for tonight is a very interesting session we're going to have with an incredible legal consultant who's going to give us all the down low and everything you guys need to know as legal parameters for content creators, especially podcasters. And as usual, we're going to have our session, but we're going to open the floor to you. So if you do come up with any questions, please just write them in the chat. Beth, who's our community manager, is going to be able to take the questions and send them to me. I am watching what's going on live, but I want to make sure that Beth, if you're there, Beth, just send a quick hi to everybody so they know you're there, ready and waiting to command the community. So do share your questions, and we'll be able to ask our amazing guests to answer them for you. Before we continue, anyone who has joined us and not on our WhatsApp group, I mean, come on, what are you guys doing? But amazing Marwan, who is the legend of everything that we do here at PodClub with Podster and as our partner, he's put a QR code at the bottom of the screen. So if you want to connect with us on WhatsApp, that's all you have to do. Beth will also share the link. So if for whatever reason the QR code is not working, Beth is there for you, as she always is, to connect you to our WhatsApp community chat. And that's growing. So we're well over 1,000 people right now. And the world is our oyster. So let's see what happens for 2026. Our guest tonight, he started his early years leading a debate club, moving on to hosting a live radio show, then to starting his legal consulting firm, Amin Rad Consultancy, all the while creating content grounded in know-how and expertise. His approach to being a legal advisor is a breath of fresh air. He's always on call, has a problem solver mindset, and creatively minded, all the reasons why I'm so happy to have him join us tonight. Thank you for being here, Amin Rad.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much. That was lovely.
Well, when I said you were on call, I meant it because you came into my feed for so long and I thought, should I reach out to him? And I didn't even know the time. I think it was close to midnight and I'm just sending you a message. Hey, Amin, I'm thinking about doing a session on legal. What do you think? And surprisingly, you message. So I'm like, you really are on call 24/7.
It was 1 a.m.
Is it really? See, I don't even know. Like, time is becoming a whirlwind for me. I don't even know what's going on. But
Likewise.
I really do think that your approach to providing legal advice on so many different aspects, that part of it I love about you is that you are a generalist, but you're a specialist in its own self.
Yeah.
That was a thing that really you kind of did hit the nail on the head, because right now I think we have so many topics we want to talk about. And for podcasters and content creators, this is a very gray zone in a lot of aspects, but then there is a black and white. And I think in terms of permits, permissions, licenses, and censorship, ownership, there's a lot of ships. What I want to get into with you. So are you ready to get into this really interesting conversation about all the legal parameters for podcasters?
I'm suited up. Let's go. Ready.
I love it. Suited and booted. Let's go. So let's start with the main topic.
Yeah.
In terms of licenses and this new UA advertiser permit, there's been a lot of conversation within our community and through contacts that I've got, my network, where there was a gray question mark in this: who needs this permit? Is it mandatory for podcasters to have a license, whether they are getting paid for their show or not? There's a lot of questions. But I really want you to go into this topic of the advertiser permit specifically, if it's mandatory for podcasters, And if it is, give us the know-how in terms of how they can do it the best way to be able to be compliant with what's going on in the UAE.
Okay, it's a very simple equation, formula. If you have your own personal page, I'm not talking about your business. If you have your own personal page and you're a content creator, and this next part is very important, you're promoting third-party products, either by payment, you're receiving money and you're promoting them, or as a barter. So, for example, you go to a clinic, you get something done, and you promote them on your page because you have so many followers. That, in and of itself, is considered promotion of a third party's product or service. In that scenario, you need to get the advertiser permit. You need to have it. And the permit number should be visible on your bio, wherever it is on your page itself. However, if you have your own business and you're only promoting your own business on your own page or on a company page with your face on it as the owner, or even your employees that are hired as per UAE labor laws, so they have a work permit and everything. I'm not talking about online contractors. Then in that scenario, you don't need the permit. You can promote your own product and your own services on your own page or on your company page. It's that simple.
Okay, so let's get detailed. I am a podcast host. I have a channel. I have a YouTube channel. I create content. I don't have a license. I do this for fun. And it's my passion project. I'm not getting paid for it. Do I need to have any license or a permit to create my podcast show?
Licenses are required when you are conducting a business transaction. If there's any kind of business transaction, you need it. If you are just posting things online and you're not making any money from it, and you're not doing any collaborations, and you're not doing any deals or promoting it based off of any kind of collaboration or partnership or any ship, then in that scenario, it's fine if you don't have a license. I know many people that are famous for whatever reason. They post interesting things, they talk about interesting stuff, and they're not promoting any business or having any kind of business conversation or activity. They don't have a license. Until now, nothing's wrong. Everything is fine. They don't need it. Once you go down the line of making money or wanting to make money or promoting, even if it's not paid, but you're promoting a third-party product as a collaboration, meaning there's a text between business A and your podcast or you as the owner of the page, and you're promoting it, then in that scenario, if you get audited, this is an example I gave you before the show, and we always give it as lawyers. We say that there's never a problem until there is a problem. If you have a contract between you and I, and for whatever case something happens, there's no problem until someone makes a case or someone's audited or there's an issue. So you're not going to get into trouble until you're audited, which in that scenario, obviously it's best to avoid it. I advise you to get.
Got it. So let's say for the people who have sponsors for their show. So again, if we get specific, because I know that people have been asking some questions about this and they do bring it up in the events as well. If we have a show, my first season was sponsored. I had done it a couple of years ago, so this permit wasn't applicable. But right now, if I am having a sponsor for my show, I don't have a license, but I want to be able to monetize this show, what happens then?
You need a license.
We need a license. So we need to go to DED,
Absolutely.
get a license.
Not necessarily DED. You can get it as a free zone.
Free zone.
There are people doing it on free zones. Free zones also fall into a very specific legal regime, I want to say, where technically you're supposed to be doing everything that's related to outside of the UAE. Some people also sell their businesses online, so technically it's it's not in the mainland. It's in the virtual space, but you could get the mainland or the free zone license as long as you're licensed. This is the main thing. It's like if you have nothing to show for it, you can't explain, you can't talk to anyone, you can't talk to any auditor. If they ever come to audit you, you can't explain yourself. But if your hands are empty. But if you actually have a license, then at least you're like, hey, look, I've been trying to follow the law. I'm not the best at following the law. I don't know. Well, up until this point, until today, you don't know any legal.
Now you do.
Yeah,
There's no excuse from now onwards.
Right.
Yeah.
So at least you have some explanation.
So, for example, I'm going to get specific because we do have specific questions
here, right?
As specific
as you want to.
And then open up to you guys. If you have any more questions, please do write down your concerns and questions. Let's say if I have a business And my podcast is hosted by me, produced by me, and it's run under my business. And I have a free zone. Okay. So once I get it sponsored, I'm able to use it under my license. If it's not sponsored, I don't have to really worry about it. It can be a passion project. It's okay until there's any monetization or any product placement, anything where there's transactional, we need to get the license. That's clear.
That's clear. However,
here we go. So it's not so clear.
however, this is again our favorite word. It depends. So there are some activities where you need a license regardless if you're monetizing or not. So for example, I'm heavily into like the trading space, like stocks, etc., etc. You need a license for that. You need a permit for that regardless. So if you're advising anyone to do any kind of financial activity, any kind of financial transaction, you need to have a permit from the financial authorities. Whether it's monetized or not, you need to get it. And if you're not approved for it, you can't make any kind of trading content whatsoever. And there's so many people doing this mistake that I'm just like, the day you get audited, and it's not even a small like issue, because if you're selling, I don't know, something that doesn't have, it's not dealing with money.
Yeah.
As long as you're not dealing with finances or money, the fines are also relatively less than when you're dealing with things like real estate or, you know, finances, financial stocks, money exchanging from hand to hand. These things, like the fines get out of hand. And if you're not earning money and you're doing something that can land you in a huge financial burden, like as a fine, it's like,
it's just not worth it.
The risk to reward ratio is like negative. It's like
got it.
Underground negative, like it's so bad.
Okay, so it's clear for me. I wanted to get a little indication from everybody online. Is it clear for you guys? Are there more questions that you have in terms of the license required for podcasting? What other questions do you have? Please do mention them on the chat so that we will be able to address them. From my side, I know that one of the main aspects was to talk about the advertiser permit, to talk about licensing for podcasters. And another aspect of it in terms of really podcasting monetization side of it. So when a podcast is sponsored, the advertising rules, I think, again, you need to be very specific. And this is where I need you. Because I know in terms of affiliate links, let's say product endorsements, if it's a paid partnership or something like that, do we need to clarify openly and publicly this is a sponsored episode or a sponsored show? Or can it just be known within the parameters of having the license and the permit, but we don't have to publicly announce this is a paid show? Where does it stand in terms of that?
Okay, it's a very good question. However, it's also what's the word I'm looking for? Not risky, but I don't want to say loaded, but it's like if I answer the question in one way, it won't apply to everyone automatically.
Sure.
It's not a general answer. So again, it depends on a case-by-case basis. But the best answer I can give you is to always keep yourself on the safe side. See, the reason why the UAE is so safe, right? It's the safest place in the world.
We can say that loud and proud. I'm very happy to say we are thankfully in the safest place in the world.
Exactly. So why is it like that? It's because we as a community also cherish that, and we also, contribute to that. We follow the rules. We make sure to overdo it, and that's why we are where we are. So please always follow the rules to a T. Even if you're not sure, it's always better to be on the safe side. So if it's a paid promotion, mention it. It's a tag. No one cares. Like they're just scrolling, they're watching, they're going to buy, and they don't care. Mention it. Keep yourself on the safe side. Always, always, always. Because you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's looking. You don't know who's auditing. Yeah. And as long as you're on the safe side, as long as you're not under some auditors or someone's microscope and you don't go under the microscope of the law, believe me, it's not a place you want to be.
I'm going to take your word for it. Thank you so much. We do not want to open that little Pandora's box.
Yeah.
But I think you've hit the nail on the head. Your main message, I think, for me to take away is it's better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely.
And if you are safe than sorry, then you're taking the right precautions. You're protecting your content. You're protecting your brand. And ultimately, you will be able to step into something knowing peace of mind that you've taken all due diligence and you've taken all the parameters in place. And it's not that difficult to be able to at least get a license. Costly, I would say, yeah, it's not the cheapest thing to be able to do. But at the same time, podcasting isn't really the cheapest thing. But at the end of the day, I think if you really are invested in it, it's something either you're passionate about, or if it's your business, then you need to protect it.
Yeah.
So I think that for me has put everything in terms of perspective for the legal side of podcasting. So thank you for that. You literally put the spotlight exactly where we need it to be.
Add on something else
Sure.
to it as well, is like, if you are thinking big about what you're doing as a content creator or podcaster, then in that sense, like, wouldn't it be best to be compliant so that you open up doors for yourself with bigger brands? Because these brands and these, you don't know who these brands are linked to. You don't know who they're working with, and they have their own compliance department. And if you're a non-compliant podcaster or a non-compliant business, then they're not necessarily going to want to partner with you or do work with you. So if you're compliant to the T and you're so clean about your work, then this is just going to open up so many doors for you.
That's beautiful. So the main point about this is the people who do want to monetize, if you cover your bases, you're going to be at an advantage versus the people who aren't.
Absolutely.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. Thank you for that. I love that perspective. Okay, so we're going to move from license and permissions into ownership. And this is going to be, and again, I'm going to give you a lot of loaded questions here, but to be honest, I think this entire topic is a little bit loaded. It can get very specific, but in my interest, I really want to kind of tap into, as a host, we are curating the content, whether it's the guest, the topic, the questions. So we feel like we own the content, right? Legally, I want to know, how does the ownership transfer, if it transfers, if you do have a sponsor? Because I think the one scenario is, I as a podcast host own the content. I have a guest, I still own the content. If the guest doesn't like my content to be aired, where does the permission lie, first of all? And if I have an added element, which is a sponsor on top of this, who then owns the content? So this is, again, a double loaded question.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Okay, so it depends on the contract that you have signed. That's the structure or the base for any kind of podcast relationship, let's call it. If we make content together, or if you and X company make content together, and they make you sign, your sponsor makes you sign a contract that says we own all the rights to this media, picture, image, video, we're going to post it in XYZ format, and they have a legal team that's so detailed, and they make a contract that's 30 pages long and make you sign it, then most likely you're not going to have much of leeway here that you can get away with, where you ask them to delete it or whatever. However, if it's just you shooting content for yourself and you get a paid promotion and you're forced to upload that sponsored video and promote XYZ product, and if you don't abide by that contract, then they can only claim back the money that they maybe already paid you, make a case against you, or you have no rights to claim that amount that they would have paid you in the future.
So the money paid would be in question, but the ownership of the content remains with the creator.
No, remains with the creator as long as there's no contract handing over your image rights for that media over to the sponsors.
So does that mean that every time that you have a guest come on, and this is going to go into another question of mine, but for example, some guests that do come on, they record, they might have said something during the show which they thought, oh, I don't want that to be aired. Is it at the discretion of the host? You see, I told you I'm going to ask you some specific questions. Yeah. Can the host decide, you know what, it's my show, I'm going to air it? Or does the guest have any rights here in any way?
The thing is, you can defend both sides in this matter. You can defend both sides. And like, if I was, defending either side, I would have an amazing argument for both sides.
I'm sure.
And then
which one's right though?
And then the judgment is where it actually is. So you have cases where, for example, not just in the UAE, even outside, where you can actually judge on both sides. Like, okay, this thing that was said, again, you can say, for example, you said something that you don't like.
Yeah.
But you're the one who said it.
Right.
So why did you say it?
Well, in the heat of the moment, I've had this on a show.
Yeah.
In the heat of the moment, they were sharing, they were getting involved in the conversation, and then later on, they're like, "This doesn't look good on my brand."
Okay, so now because you don't have a contract to back you,
Correct.
because they informed you before you uploaded or even after you uploaded, this is where you leave your, your work or your media, or if you're not thinking big, this is the most important thing. Is like, it comes down to any business. Like, I always push my clients to think big. I work with businesses all the time. I always think them like, think big, think huge. Whatever you're thinking, think bigger.
Yeah.
Protect yourself. If you don't have a contract, and even after you upload it, a year later, they come and ask you to delete the content because you posted them with no contract backing you, delete it. Because at least the minimum they can do is cause an obstacle for you. Where you have to show up somewhere to explain yourself. You get my point?
I got you. So yeah. I know in terms of photo shoots, we always use permission for models, right? Yeah. We get the permission, even though they're being paid, we still get their permission because we want to own the, as I say, my clients need to own the rights. So we get the permissions from the models. This is something which I hadn't really thought about, because I thought, well, we're going to create content. I'm the owner of the content. And usually when it has happened, it's only happened once for me, I've kind of edited out that element, and I was fine with doing that. But if they had said, I want you to delete the entire episode, I think that would have been a different conversation. So just to have that in writing would be something that would cover you, seeing as you're the one putting up the costs, unless it's sponsored. That's, again, very interesting to
paper trail, contracts. Make sure, like, so for example, you want to shoot a podcast, you write down almost everything you're going to be talking about, not to the T, obviously, it's impossible, but at least the general guidelines of what we're going to be talking about, the topics. That's number one. Number two, get their consent, have them sign it, communicate it on an official channel. WhatsApp is also fine, right? They signed it, you send it back to them as a signed paper. This at least creates some security for yourself.
Interesting. Okay, that's something I didn't know. I think it's always going to help you to cover your back, but it's not mandatory. It's like you said, it only becomes a problem if it's a problem.
Exactly, it's not mandatory.
Yeah, I'm learning that today. Okay, good. So this is another ownership, because, and I hope that if Ian, you're online, you will understand that this question actually was relevant to him as well, because he's based in the UK. He does actually create content. And he's more of a legacy creator. He's been doing this for years. So in terms of ownership, when you are overseas, then obviously which law do you apply? He's based in the UK. He's recording here. Which law do you apply in that?
Wherever the media was posted.
Wherever the media is posted is where you need to apply the law from that country.
Yes, unless... It depends. Unless, for example, you can have like a personal case, like a civil/criminal case, where it's two individuals, no licenses, no contract, nothing. You have a conversation together online on a Zoom call, and you inform them that it's recorded, and obviously they know. And then you post it, and then later on they say, and you don't have proof that you got that permission from them to post it, for example. And then they make a case against you. Obviously, in the UK, nothing's going to happen. You guys can check. But I don't think anything's going to happen in the UK or in the States or in France, for example, in Europe in general. But then when that person in Europe comes here, and that person over here has already opened a case against them as a personal case, why did they upload my face online without my permission? That's a case. That's a criminal case.
Wow, okay. Got it. So... here is a question that's going to be one foot in the ownership and one foot in the license. We had a question from one of our OG community members, Sahar. And her question was, I publish a solo podcast, which is released through an overseas podcast streamer. Does she need a license? And if so, from where?
What do you mean an overseas podcast streamer?
So basically, we can actually stream from different platforms. And if the platform is not based here, it could be based in the US. If she's streaming it through a US-based platform, does she need to have a UAE license? I think that's probably a no, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Is she getting paid? Money. It always comes down to money.
Okay, so let's answer that question. If she gets paid, what's the answer? Does she need a license? If she doesn't get paid, no. So if she's being sponsored for her content, she needs to have a license.
Podcast, if you simplify it, it's as easy as going on TikTok live. Do you need a license to do it? No. Instagram, no. Meta has headquarters over here. If you needed it, believe me, you would have known to go live on Instagram, but you don't. But if you're monetizing your streams, there's no difference between an Instagram stream or live or a stream on Twitch or Kick or whatever. So you need the license if you're monetized, if you're getting monetized.
Got it. Okay. Clear enough. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we've covered ownership. Again, if you guys have any more questions that I haven't asked, please do share them in the comment box and we'll come to that as well. If we go into the next part, which I think is very appropriate for right now, and it's one of the main reasons that I really wanted to have this legal conversation. We're in a time where information is very much needed for people to be up to date with what's going on, but it's also very clear that we have to be careful, mindful, and intentional with what we are sharing. So I want to get into the legal and illegal topics that people are sharing online, whether it's content on whatever platform and just, a post, or whether it's a full podcast. I know, and certain topics are not permitted, but I really want to go into that from your point of view to share what topics should we never discuss in any form of content, and then what is borderline, open for discussion or giving your opinion that is still not crossing that line between permissible and not. Let's go into that a little bit.
Things you should never discuss, obviously, are things that are, criminal offenses. You should not discuss them even at all under any circumstances. Why? Because it can be considered as promotion of said activity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it can be. If someone wants to squeeze you, they can.
Okay.
I myself, if I see a content and they're borderline walking on eggshells or walking on the line, I can easily with words tip it over to the other side where it's in the red zone. Just oh, really? Did you mean this by what you said?
Got it. Okay. So criminal offense. Okay. What else?
Criminal offenses, unless obviously you're informing, you're providing knowledge and information to protect against that. Like
scams.
Like what I do. My videos. I make videos about scams all the time. My job is to inform people what not to do, how not to. These are crimes. These are illegal activities. These are things that you shouldn't be doing. So first you inform, and then you obviously state that obviously don't do that.
Right.
Of course you shouldn't do this.
Right. Okay.
This is how you protect yourself. It's you're sharing as a source of information or knowledge for people to inform them not to do a certain thing, not just to bring it up because it's going to get views or it's funny.
For trending purposes clickbait and whatnot. Okay, exactly. Got it. What about in terms of what is happening right now, sharing your political opinion or acting more of a journalist and sharing content which is not being publicly available on official sites? Where does the law stand on that? Let's go with that first, and then I'll ask my follow-up question. Where does the law stand on people sharing content that is not being publicly announced or verified on official channels?
My question to your question is why? Why would you do that? If it's not official, if it's not posted officially, why would you put yourself at risk to post that and then later, Russian roulette, let's find out if it's official or not? Does it make sense? What's the risk to reward ratio? This is one of the best things that make my clients or people in general realize what they're doing. Is it worth it or not? It's what's the risk to reward ratio for that?
So let's say there's a podcast that a host wants to talk about what's going on right now in the political situation, right? They want to have a debate. They want to talk about their personal opinions, right? This is not publicizing stats. It's not talking about what is official or not. It's their opinions. So where does the law stand on sharing your opinion on certain matters, especially about political situations?
Okay, but what is there to debate about?
Your opinion versus somebody else's opinion.
About this matter. What? No, honestly, what is there to debate about? It's not about an opinion. It's what are the facts? Facts are numbers, are statistics, are news, officially, obviously, that come out, and these are things that you can talk about. Go ahead, fine. You can relay these messages. You can create your own version of the post with the same statistics. That's fine. That
Yeah.
doesn't matter. But once you start bringing in like political debates or religious debates, etc., and it's your own development of this topic, then you start putting yourself at legal risk of either hate speech, discrimination, crime, etc., and like you're opening up yourself to risk. But then again, what is the risk to reward ratio for that? Like, what do you gain from it?
I mean, I'm going to stand as an advocate for,
Tell me.
freedom of expression, I would say.
Yeah.
I know we need to respect the country we're in. And at the end of the day, I have been living here for 18 years. So I am very mindful of wherever you are, you need to observe the laws and respect them. At the same time, in terms of having an opinion, right? I'm not getting involved in statistics. I'm not getting involved in anything. But if I want to share, I or a content creator wants to share my opinion or my experience, let's put it in that way. I want to share my experience of what I'm going through today. That, I think, is something that people are doing around the world. But more importantly, right now, UAE residents and citizens, if they want to talk about their experience right now, is that something that could potentially end up having a legal issue for them?
You know, if you want to talk about your experiences, there's a fine line between talking about your experience and, you know, as an outlet to relieve yourself, to make yourself feel better. And this is where, see, the UAE government, what I love about what they do is they don't just say you should or shouldn't do this. They also provide you solutions to do or not do something.
Okay.
So, for example, you want an outlet, you want to talk about it, it's normal. If things are happening, you may feel you may feel a certain way. You want to talk about it? Amazing. They've actually put free hotlines that you can call and talk about your emotional distress, if you have any, about how you're feeling. Someone will talk to you, make you feel bad, and you can stay on it as long as you want. Call back anytime you want, and it's completely free. I've never seen any country do this, where they provide free, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Helplines.
Yeah.
I've personally, I don't know, maybe they do it in the States. In the States, they do it as well, right?
Oh, yeah. There are a few countries who do offer this. Yeah.
However, now the line between this do and don't is that if you are doing it publicly, the same way that, for example, any political news can happen and some other people that are not inside the country or are inside the country, whatever their agenda is, they may now take this information and spread it as false information, fake news, twist your words, and now you're the face of their words.
Yeah.
So again, you're putting yourself at risk, and your words and your face and your safety and security in the country in the hands of people who may have an agenda that's completely against you and against where you live.
Okay, clear. Understood. So from my perspective, I think this could be a whole podcast on its own, to be honest with you, because I think that there is an element where people have this need to share their experience, and it can cross into being very vocal about their opinions, which we do need to, again, respect other people's points of view. But I do feel like this is something, I think, especially in the UAE, like you said, there are outlets where we can do that. But in terms of content, so do we have to draw the line and say that you cannot create a podcast or any content that is sharing your opinion of what is going on right now in this current situation?
I'm not saying don't do it, and I'm not saying to do it. What I'm saying is think before you do it. Think what you're saying, what you're doing. Is it the right thing to say? Is it the right thing to do? Are you breaking any laws? This is very important. And what are you gaining from if potentially you're breaking any laws? Like, is it even worth it? Like, obviously don't do it. This is just friendly advice. Don't do it. Because it's, again, it goes back to the same thing. It's just not worth it. Which other nation can create such a beautiful melting pot of 200 nationalities, 200 plus nationalities, with the
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So in order to keep these 200 plus nationalities in a safe space, you need to create boundaries, you need to create rules. And so when you come and say like, yeah, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, you have that. But obviously there are red lines to it. Why? Because to protect the hundreds of nationalities that live here.
Understood. This is, I think, again, one of those conversations where this can be an event on its own for us to get to the core of it, because again, as creators, a lot of the times we're reporting what's happening, and that is more of a journalistic perspective. And the other times it's more about talking about our experiences, bringing our own opinions, what we've learned along the journey. And that's where it becomes our own point of view. So I think the fine line between what can and cannot be shared, you've clarified that. But I do think there is, again, a bit of a gray zone in terms of the kind of content that we can talk about when it's our opinion. And I know that obviously you cannot, talk publicly. And in a country, it's not something that you need to be talking publicly about, whether it's religion, slander in any form, whether it's to do with any level of governance or anything. That's where I think the beauty of the UAE really has respected what content is about. But then it's up to us. Like you said, we're so many nationalities, that many people with a different point of view coming together, at the same time respecting the law, is a very difficult thing to manage.
You argue with your own parents and they gave birth to you. Like, you have disagreements.
That's so true.
You have disagreements, like crazy disagreements with your own parents, with your own partner, with your own friends. Like, how can you and someone that you don't know at all, with opposing political views, not have an insane argument?
Yeah.
And not have it blow out of proportion, which is why you just remove the argument. It makes sense. Like, put a red line to it. No, this is a place for people to live in safety and harmony, make a living, provide for family, provide for kids, grow, and grow the nation and live together. That's the way you do it. Why is it a formula that's working then?
It is working. I feel like in terms of the content creator side of us wants to be able to ask certain questions.
Absolutely.
And open certain topics and put them out for the wider audience to learn or to understand. And at the same time, this is where we need to ask certain questions that might be problematic, but we do need to know the answers. So this is, tell me.
Absolutely, I get it. But if you're talking, exploring products or services, go ahead, do your magic. You guys are amazing at what you do about content creation. Go for it. But when it comes to things that actually now this may come out wrong. Not that your products and services don't actually matter or don't make a difference in day-to-day lives, but there are things that actually are topics of like serious topics, like politics, like finances.
Yeah.
These
like
things,
religion.
like religion.
Yeah, exactly.
There are people that are like ready to go over the red line for these topics.
Correct.
And so that becomes a dangerous topic. It becomes danger, and it creates danger for the public. It's a public safety question, and that's why you have to put red lines somewhere. The border should be somewhere.
Got it. Okay, clear. So let's move on from this topic to trademarks and copyright in terms of music that we can use in podcasts. And like we had a little conversation about trademarks as well. I thought it's simple to do, but it's very costly. So I wanted to talk about copyright and trademarks because this is something you were very experienced in as well. Can you talk about that, where we stand in terms of content creation, especially for podcasts, when it comes to copyright and trademarks?
Copyrights and trademarks, the good thing about the UAE, amazing thing about the UAE, and obviously in some other places these laws apply as well, is that if you're creating content and it is your content and your face on it, no one else can use it. No one else without your consent. If you have your face on it, no one else can use your face on their page without your permission.
So should we have a conversation about AI? I think that's a whole different topic,
yes,
right?
We can, of course. Yeah. I think that's a very good topic. I think that's a very, very good topic. I recently uploaded a video completely made with AI, like trying to basically show people how they can get scammed with AI. And it took me like 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And like I was even acting it out, and then the AI like was me.
Yeah,
I think it was crazy. So yeah, it's a very good topic, very, very good topic. Deepfakes, all of these things, they're getting so good. I uploaded a video yesterday as well. I don't know if you saw that.
Haven't yet. So this is the question goes into who is the owner when you are creating content on AI?
Okay, we don't have fixed like huge regulations on this, but as long as you have the consent form from the person that you're using their likelihood.
If it's you're creating your own AI content, I'm the owner. But if I'm going to take other content from online and use that to create AI generated content, where do we sit with that? So I can take your content, stitch it with my content, and make a new video. Who's the owner?
So my face is on your video, on your page, and
my page.
And you didn't ask me?
Yeah, and I didn't ask for your consent.
Not legal.
Not legal.
No.
I asked for your consent, we're all legal.
Yep.
So it's a consent issue.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
It's a consent issue, yeah.
Clear. That's very clear.
That's a consent issue. But if you have a business and you want to, like, for example, trademark your logo, then that's a completely different process. And there are so many trademarks that happened just this last year. It's a fairly... It takes time. It takes time. It takes like 3 to 6 months to get everything published and, publicized. But the good thing is you spend just some money. You spend a little money to get it approved first. Make sure that it's guaranteed you're going to get the trademark. Then you spend the rest of the money, the fees and the government.
Sure. Yeah. So you can get that pre-approval before you go all in.
Yep.
Good, because it is quite a hefty amount that you need to, pay out for this.
Yeah, but it's also a long-term investment.
Yeah.
No one else can use that logo for as long as you keep renewing it forever.
Right. Okay. So I always see trademark is very similar to like owning a number plate. Like if you're using personalized number plates, you do need to pay for it. And until you stop paying for it, then when you stop, it's not yours anymore.
Exactly.
So I think that's the same analogy that I tend to use for trademarks. Okay, great. One of the main points that I really wanted to highlight in terms of the permission side of content as well, because I want to also be mindful of time, so I want to be able to wrap up gently as well. But one of the main questions we also do receive in our events is more about getting permission from children if they're going to be featured in your content. And if that is going to be the case, do you need permission from their parents, obviously, if they're underage? And what do you do about showing children in your podcast? Because I know, for example, I have a friend who wants to start her own podcast. She's in education and she works with children under 12 years old. So if she wants to feature children in her podcast, she obviously has to get permission from the parents. Now, with the permission, she can actually show the children on her show. Beyond that, if it starts getting monetized, does any of the profits that she makes have to go to the children? I know this is very specific, but I think it's interesting for people to understand where the lines could potentially get a little bit blurry when it comes to working with children and content.
Okay, I'll start as a general with the general answer, and then we'll pinpoint down to your specific question. Generally speaking, if you're making content with children, highly advised to get permission from the parents. There's some content creators, they just make like funny videos and stuff here and there. They use children as well, and it looks like a family kind of relationship, and in those scenarios usually they don't have that kind of agreement, which even then I advise them, but that's me just being very like direct, like you need to do that, but like if you don't do it, it's very unlikely that there's going to be consequences. However, if it's in a family setting. However, if you're making content with children that, it's like a monetized kind of relationship, then absolutely get the consent form from the parents. Then again, it comes down to preferably getting it from both parents.
Oh, do you have to get them from both parents?
There are some scenarios where, depending on the religion as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is one I didn't know. All right.
Yeah. So depending on the religion, also it can matter. Like, for example, getting a consent from the father.
Okay. In this regard, that makes sense.
So best to get it from both parents, just in case. In that way,
everything is a just in case.
Billboard the consent form on the podcast. Be proud as you want. Then you don't have anything to worry about. If it's monetized, if you have a contract beforehand, it's just like any other business relationship at that point. If you have a contract beforehand that you're going to have a revenue share, et cetera, obviously you're going to have to respect that. But then again, if you don't respect it, it's not a problem until it's a problem, until they make a case, right? Other than that, if you don't have an agreement and it's monetized, and you obviously in your amazing consent form for having the children, you also include that even if it makes money, there's profit or there's any revenue, there's no sharing, billboard. Billboard that contract. You don't have anything to worry about. So it depends on how you've set it up, which is why it's not just about the script that you're preparing beforehand, not about what you're going to wear. It's also about the contracts and the communication.
Behind the scenes.
It's not even about just contract. It's also communication. Like if you can show in communication that you've addressed this matter, like, hey, we're going to be talking about X, Y, Z, and this and that and that, and this is how it's going to be, et cetera, in the future. Are you okay with that? Yes, confirmed.
Another question that we want to talk about is defamation. I think a lot of people haven't really understood what is classified as defamation. Defamation of character or using specific, let's say, opinions in a way on someone's content. Can you shine the light a little bit about if someone is harassing you about your content that you're sharing, what can be done, what does classify as defamation? A little bit about this topic if you can.
Okay, if someone's harassing you just you mean publicly or privately? Publicly.
Online, about your content, let's say,
online,
for example.
about your content, then in that case, the best thing you can do is report it and then just let the authorities decide.
And who do you report it to?
Cybercrime. Download the Dubai Police application or Ministry of Interior. You can log in with UAE Pass or download the application, log in with UAE Pass and report it. Cybercrime.
Okay, so report any, let's say, discriminatory conversation or comments or anything like that, or any kind of defamation in writing on your content. You need to take a screenshot about it or something like that so you have evidence, and then you report it as a cybercrime.
Exactly. So you know, the funniest thing is all these years I never had anyone do anything like, you know, harass me or whatever. And one lady out of the blue, just like last week, wrote a very like bad comment. It was so short, it's like 3 words long, but it was just like a swear word. It was just like, am I really the person you want to be like saying, I'm going to obviously report this? And I even replied to her, I was like, report it. That's it. Like,
so even a curse word, you can just take the screenshot and report it?
Of course.
Now, does it matter, or can you still do something if the person is not in the UAE? Obviously, you can report it on Meta, but if the person is not in the UAE, then you can't do anything about it, can you?
Report it, cybercrime, follow through with it. The day that person lands in the UAE, they're going to have a big problem.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how long does it remain valid? I'm getting very, very specific here. But
and of course, it's going to stay. It's just going to stay under name. And whenever they come in, oh, by the way, welcome Miss or Mrs., Mr. or Mrs. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You have a case. Please let's stay and investigate this further.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. This is interesting for me to figure out a little bit more, because again, I think right now I'm hearing from a lot of people in terms of there's a lot of hurtful messages, maybe some even hateful, being shared online, and whether you can or cannot do something about it. I'm glad to see that, again, being in the UAE, you are able to act on that and be able to protect yourself. So this is, again, another plus point as to why this really is one of the safest cities in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Just report it and just let the authorities deal with it. You don't need to worry about these things.
Love it. Okay. So, I mean, from my side, I've asked you a bunch of questions, and thank you for shining the light on so many of these elements. I know I went a little bit specific with some of them, but I think I'm picking up on a lot of the inquiries that we've been having over the months that we've holding events. And now I'm going to go online to answer some of the questions that we've been getting from Beth.
Absolutely.
So while I'm going to read through a couple of those, Marwan, can you help me out? Was there a question that came on the chat that you're like, this has to be answered, it's imperative, we need to answer this?
Yes, 1 second.
Because I've got a whole bunch of them here, and I'm looking through these comments. You guys are getting very active, which I love. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all the questions.
They're seizing the opportunity. It's amazing.
So we've got one question that I'm going to look at. Again, this is about the licensing, but they want to know, they are an upcoming podcast producer. They want to kickstart a new Instagram page. So far, there's no monetization involved. And she wants to know, or he wants to know, do I still need the license? I think you've answered it, but can we have it clarified for Virgin Alexander?
Okay, I'm going to be very specific with my answer because I don't want you to get into any kind of issues later. Start your page, working on your page. However, if you're, for example, going out paying with your own money for a product and you put it on your page and you say, I love this product, that's fine. But if you're collaborating with brands, you're going to need the advertiser permit, even on your first product, by law.
But no monetization, no collaboration.
That
is
is a
transaction?
collaboration. Brand reaches out to you. Hey, we've seen you're a UGC creator. You're new in the game. We want to gift you a product for free. The only thing you have to do is post our product.
That's a barter.
Yeah, it's a barter. And
So
you need
barter is technically not monetization, but
No.
it is a
Paid or
transaction.
unpaid.
Yeah.
Paid or unpaid. So if you're a content creator and you're promoting third-party services or products, paid or unpaid, you need the permit.
Got it. This is a very interesting question. Thank you, Marwan. Because look, in terms of mental health, let's say even coaching, anything that comes into psychological conversation or topics, right? Does that person need to have some level of qualification, certification? And if so, where did they post that? Where did they announce it? How can you verify? And what can you do if you are verified? How can you set yourself apart from the ones who aren't?
It depends.
Oh, here we go.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just a messenger. It depends. Why? Because if you're just talking about, it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about, do you feel down? I've recently had this relaxing tea.
Right.
You don't need a permit for that. But if you're talking and giving medical advice, yeah, of course, it's better to have one, right?
But let's say mental health doesn't necessarily have to cross into medical advice, but it can give you steps on how you can regulate your nervous system. Or let's say if you're going through anxiety and people want to identify, okay, this is how I deal with anxiety. These are the different techniques you can use, and they're not verified.
That's the it depends part. What are the techniques that they're advising people to do? A breathing
exercise. There you go.
No. Your own
So a breathing exercise,
your own
some sort of
mother can give you that
meditation.
advice. No.
A workout routine.
Right, he's getting really specific
A
here.
workout routine.
Workout where you workouts, you might get injured.
So let's say a personal trainer who is qualified to give you, steps on how to build muscles or whatever it is or get toned versus someone who isn't qualified.
Okay.
Is there anything that you need to do legally that needs to protect you? You have to be qualified to be able to give, tips on how to tone down or tone up or shred or whatever?
Okay, two things. One, if your advice is going to be scientifically, okay, now we're getting into like very specific details. If your advice is going to be scientifically causing harm to others, and it's scientifically proven that what you're saying is obviously wrong, then you're going to get into a lot of trouble for that. And if you're monetizing that, oh my God, just like both ways, so make sure what you're saying is true, first of all, scientifically. And also if you're monetizing it, have a license for it.
But you don't technically have to be qualified as a psychologist or a mental health coach or even a coach or a personal trainer.
To say what? That's the part that
It's very specific.
Yeah, because it's important.
I think just call Amin. That's what I'm going to say. Call Amin. Get Amin to answer your question.
Better call Amin.
Better call Amin. We've got Better Call Saul. We've got Better Call Amin.
Putting disclaimers like at the beginning or the end, go like
I am not
This is-
qualified. I am not.
So
You
this is
shouldn't even listen to me, but this is what I do.
Here's where we go. So let's talk about one thing. I think one of the questions came up about disclaimers. In terms of having a show, right? I'm not talking about short form content, which is super quick, but an episode, long form content. I'm seeing a lot. I use them in my own show as well to use disclaimers. Is it mandatory? I know the answer, but I want to put it out there for you. Is it mandatory to have a disclaimer, or is it better in your favor as a legal measure to have a disclaimer?
Protection never hurts. Protect yourself. Wear your armor so that no one can hurt you in the future. Put the disclaimer. You don't care if it's by law, what exactly and how much of it exactly. Just put it. It's best to put it. Especially if you're making content that's sensitive, like the things you were telling me, like if you're providing any kind of advice or whatever.
Right.
Obviously put those disclaimers. I myself make legal content all the time. On a lot of my content, I don't put disclaimers, but that's just because I'm explaining the law. There is no disclaimer needed. But when I give my own opinion, I remember like a while back, I put the disclaimer. It's like this, apart from this point onwards, it's my own opinion. I made another one where it was like, this is how to destroy your future in the UAE. And I was basically saying the opposite of what everyone should be doing. Like, yeah, make sure you give huge promises and sign a contract on those promises and never follow through with them. Obviously, during the whole bit, it was like a 1.5-minute video, I put a small disclaimer. This is obviously a joke. You shouldn't do this. And even later on, I even explained it like, this is a joke, because you never know
Right.
how this can be portrayed, where it's going to be cut, edited, right?
Right. Got it. I think these are all very, very important points for people to understand. Where I'm learning a lot in terms of just cover your bases. Don't do something and then think, oh, I should have done it. It's a bit too late and it could potentially be a little bit more costly.
Yeah.
So I think, okay, we're finally getting the question that Sahar is tweaking to ask you, okay? She's tweaked this specifically. Her podcast is hosted in the USA. It is monetized by an ad placement, not endorsement and not a collab. She lives here in the UAE. Does she need the license?
Where's the content being posted?
Here in the UAE.
So
I
she's
think global as well, actually, with Sahar, but she is posting it here in the UAE, yes. It's video and audio.
okay. So
Oh, sorry, not video, it's audio. Her content is audio.
does she have a registered business LLC for it?
Sahar, do you have a register?
Okay.
I feel like we're in between.
Yes,
Let's say if she
yeah,
does.
I'll answer both. Yeah.
So she has an e-trader license.
What's
which
the
is
activity? We're having a legal consultation.
We're having a legal consultation. I would
Live.
say, Sahar, maybe get in touch with Amin
You guys are gonna see me
directly.
work
But
live.
I like this. Let's see a legal conversation
Live.
in mode, because
I'm very efficient.
yeah, I think this, sometimes it really does get ad specific,
Yeah.
because like she's actually making this, clear. This is something
Because
that's very
I asked the
important.
exact. I don't beat around the bush. I asked the questions that if you get audited, they will ask. The auditors,
for
they will
sure.
ask, is this the case? You tick boxes. That's most of what you should be doing. You tick boxes like conditions. Am I meeting this condition or not? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah, I think in terms of creating your content, what you mentioned is, where are you actually posting your content?
Through where?
Through where? So you mean the platform of which it's being
Let's say
shared?
I'm posting on YouTube and I have an LLC or a
Right.
license or an entity or whatever that's connected to YouTube,
Right.
and I'm uploading my podcast through that LLC or
Right.
entity or company or whatever,
Right.
then I'm fine.
Right.
But if I'm living in the UAE, me, not my entity, because that's a different
You as
person.
a person. Yeah, you're a person.
That's a
not a
completely different
company.
person.
Individual versus company, yeah.
Exactly. I'm a person. My company is also a person. They just have different categories. Me as a person, Sahar, I'm Sahar. I'm uploading on YouTube as me, which is not possible in the UAE. Anyways, they're not going to pay you unless you have your, your contracts and stuff like that. However, in the UAE, it's not possible. YouTube won't allow it. So you have to create your license or your e-trader license or an LLC outside, like a
Right.
US based, for example, LLC. That's also possible.
So I think that's her question answered. And I honestly feel like if anyone does have a very specific question, to be able to reach out to you. You've been kind enough to not only give your time here tonight for us, but also to offer additional support for people who might have a very specific question, to reach out to you. And we will be sharing your contacts as well to get a little bit more technical in terms
Anytime.
of the legal advice.
Also, people have personal questions they want to ask, but they don't want to ask.
They
like,
don't want to
in
ask in
public.
I mean, come on, this is us we're talking about. We're family. You guys can share whatever you want with us. But I do know for a lot of people, they don't want to get too personal about certain things. But I wanted to also thank some of the guys who did share their questions in advance. I know Virginia, Sahar, Chris, Ian, Alan. There's a lot of people who did share. And I hope that the questions that we've been able to discuss here has answered some of your queries. Again, if they haven't been answered, please feel free to reach out to Amin. He's kind enough to extend his legal advice to you guys.
My pleasure.
And at the same time, before we wrap up, I just wanted you to, if you can, give us 5 things that any podcaster really needs to take care of before they go live with their content.
Are they just starting out?
No, they have content. I love the fact you asked me so many questions. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
So they're a podcaster. They have a show. they want to launch a new podcast episode, what should be their checklist?
Okay. Number one, consent form of your guest. In that consent form, rights to use the media, rights to upload it the way that it's edited. Also make some sort of like vague clause, not vague, general clause where it says this content may be edited and it may be portrayed with a slightly different message. Not slightly different message, but like the way that you said it may be changed, may be variable due to editing reasons. This saves you a lot of headache later on, believe me. And then obviously the name of the guest, their official communication channel, their signature on it, and then communicated with them through their official channel. There's a longer like things that you need to do. If it's it's a big project, it's a serious thing, then you need to get a professional to do it.
Okay.
You might know one.
Okay. So we can reach out to you to prepare something. Yeah.
So that's number one or two. Next.
That was one. That was content rights.
Are you making me work tonight?
Yeah. You're here for a reason. I want you to share your know-how. So first one was content rights.
Yeah, content rights. Number two would be if you're monetized, get a license. Absolutely. There's no doubt, no shadow of a doubt. Like it's very easy to look up if you have a license or not, by the way.
Yeah.
So like an auditor would like a piece of cake. And
so I think that should be number one. I think if you're monetizing, if you're monetizing, you need to have a license. Yeah. Let's say now you have your license and you need to then have your content rights in written format. Okay, that's number two. Next.
What else is there?
Oh my goodness. I think you've covered so many different points in terms of having that form of communication where if it is sponsored, we need to outline what is deliverable. What are the deliverables you need to give to the brand so that everything is clearly laid out in an agreement. So first, I think the license. The second is the content rights. Third is clearly identify what your deliverables are if this is monetized.
Absolutely. So thank you for that one.
It's okay. I've done this a few times before.
All right. So get your deliverables sorted clearly on paper and communicated to you through the official channels or communication channels of the business. I keep saying official communication channels because there is a huge gray zone when it comes to communication with businesses. You can have like a third-party contractor.
Yeah.
That's like not even in the country talking to you, asking you to deliver some stuff that you don't even,
It could be like either the agency who's brought the deal together, or it could be your producer. It could be the middle person is a person who needs to.
And then you don't have an audit on that agency. You don't even know if the employee you're talking to is actually, with a work permit. Like they're even actually an employee under that company. They even have a contract. So there's a huge gray zone. So make sure that it's communicated to you, negotiate your terms, your deliverables, make sure that it's, it works in your favor. And then, honestly.
So we've covered the deliverables. And I think one of the most important things that you covered today, I'm paying attention. I hope you guys are as well. Disclaimer. I think include that disclaimer in your content because I'm seeing a lot of people who are not understanding the importance of it. Yes, it's not mandatory, but you made it very clear. Cover your backs.
Most people don't put disclaimers, actually. Most of them. And I've seen so many videos, like I just scroll. I'm like this right here is not legal, like what they're doing.
Well, you know what? You gave me an idea. We should do a small little audit. Not an official audit, but let's have a day where you can come in, people can come and share their content with you and you can do a little audit. Yeah. And we can even make that into a session because I think there are going to be more people who are interested to understand where the lines are so they don't cross them. But at the end of the day, if they don't know, they won't be able to, be compliant. So again, I really appreciate your time. I'm going to wrap up this session. We've been able to not only answer some of the really important questions that the community have been asking in the last few months, but also my own personal questions, which you were very able, not only confidently, but very eloquently were able to draw the line for me within my parameters that I had in my head legally, what I can and cannot do, the do's and don'ts. So thank you for that. And like we said, you're open to allowing people to reach out to you. We will definitely share your Instagram handle as well so that they can reach out to you and get a little bit more legal advice. And now they have somebody who is well-versed, because you are a content creator yourself, that you know the the ways of how people can stay compliant, but also still true to their authentic content.
Absolutely. I work with content creators all the time. A lot of them most likely. So
Well, this is a whole different conversation. When we, go offline here, we're going to have another side conversation to know who are all these people and how can we create something together, because I really believe in the form of and the art of collaboration. And I thank you for collaborating with us today. There was no monetary transaction. I just have to put a disclaimer on this for our episode today. But you did give your time, and I very much appreciate that. And anyone else who's tuning in, if you were realizing that you don't know enough, then you have someone to reach out to. Please do reach out to Amin. If you didn't know the power and the importance of what we're doing in PodClub, thank you for joining us. Please make sure that you do connect with us on our WhatsApp. And that's a community in itself where we're here to ask those questions. Someone who's been through it can give you the advice. And if we don't know what the answer is, that's why we have these sessions to bring you the answers. So again, thank you guys for joining us online. And I hope that you all stay safe. You have a great evening, and we will definitely bring you more amazing episodes and amazing events in the future. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Are we clear?
We're clear. I'm still streaming, but no sound or video.
So they can see us do this.
No sound or video.
Oh man, I wanted to do this. A little cha-cha-cha.